The afternoon sun streamed through the large windows of the oncology ward at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, casting warm golden light across the sterile white walls adorned with colorful artwork created by young patients. It was Thursday, November 8th, 2007, and the ward was bustling with its usual mixture of medical professionals, concerned families, and brave children fighting battles far too big for their small bodies. Among them was 16-year-old Ashley Marie Rodriguez, a vibrant teenager from Camden, New Jersey, who had been battling acute lymphoblastic leukemia for the past 14 months. Ashley's room, number 314, had become a sanctuary of personality in the clinical environment. The walls were covered with posters of her favorite bands, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, and various other rock and metal acts that seemed incongruous with her sweet face and gentle demeanor. But anyone who spent time with Ashley quickly learned that beneath her soft-spoken exterior was a spirit forged by music, strengthened by melody, and sustained by the raw power of rock and roll that had become her lifeline through the darkest period of her young life. Her parents, Maria and Carlos Rodriguez, had initially been concerned when their daughter's musical tastes shifted from pop music to heavy metal shortly after her diagnosis. But they soon realized that the aggressive, defiant sound of bands like Black Sabbath wasn't making Ashley angry or rebellious. It was giving her strength. The music became her armor against fear, her soundtrack for courage, and her constant companion during the long, painful hours of chemotherapy treatments. If you're enjoying this incredible story, please subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. It helps us bring you more amazing moments of human connection and hope. Ashley's particular connection to Ozzy Osbourne's music had begun during her first round of chemotherapy, when the nausea and weakness had left her feeling hopeless and scared. A nurse named Jennifer, who was close to Ashley's age and happened to be a rock music fan, had suggested that Ashley try listening to music during her treatments to help pass the time and distract from the discomfort. "I remember that first day so clearly," Ashley would later recall. "Jennifer put on Shot in the Dark by Ozzy, and something about that song just spoke to me. Here was this guy singing about being in a dark place but refusing to give up. It was exactly how I felt, but I'd never heard anyone put it into words like that before." From that moment, Ozzy's music became Ashley's constant companion. She listened to his albums during treatments, studied his lyrics during the long nights when pain and medication made sleep impossible, and found in his songs a vocabulary for experiences that most teenagers never had to face. Songs like Diary of a Madman helped her process the confusion and fear of serious illness, while tracks like Mama, I'm Coming Home reminded her of the love and support waiting for her at the end of each hospital stay. Her oncologist, Dr. Sarah Chen, had noticed the positive impact that music was having on Ashley's emotional state and overall treatment response. "Ashley was one of the most remarkable patients I've ever worked with," Dr. Chen would later explain. "She faced her treatments with a courage and determination that was inspiring to everyone on our staff." Music clearly played a crucial role in helping her maintain that positive attitude. But it was Ashley's mother, Maria, who decided to reach out to Ozzy's management company. After watching her daughter find strength and hope in his music for over a year, Maria felt compelled to let the artist know how much his work meant to someone fighting for her life. "I wasn't expecting anything," Maria would later say. "I just wanted him to know that his music was helping a sick child get through the hardest time of her life. I thought maybe his people would send an autographed photo or something like that." The letter Maria sent was heartfelt and detailed, describing Ashley's battle with leukemia, her love for Ozzy's music, and the role his songs played in her daily fight for survival. She included photos of Ashley in her hospital room surrounded by Black Sabbath posters, and she described how her daughter would sing along to Crazy Train during chemotherapy sessions, turning the treatment room into an impromptu concert venue. What Maria didn't expect was that her letter would find its way directly to Ozzy himself, who was deeply moved by Ashley's story. At 58, Ozzy had received thousands of fan letters over the course of his career, but something about Ashley's situation touched him in a profound way. Perhaps it was because he had children of his own, or perhaps it was because he understood what it meant to find strength in music during life's darkest moments. "When I read that letter about Ashley," Ozzy would later reflect, "I felt this overwhelming need to do something more than just send an autographed photo. This young lady was fighting for her life, and my music was helping her find the strength to keep fighting. That's the most meaningful thing any artist can hear about their work. Working with his management team and the Make-A-Wish Foundation, Ozzy arranged what he described as a very special hospital visit for a day when Ashley was scheduled for a routine treatment. The plan was kept completely secret from Ashley and her family, with only Dr. Chen and a few key hospital staff members aware of what was about to happen. On the morning of November 8th, Ashley arrived at the hospital for what she believed was a regular chemotherapy session. She was feeling relatively strong that day, having had a good week with minimal side effects from her recent treatments. She wore her favorite Black Sabbath t-shirt, a vintage design featuring the band's classic logo, and carried the iPod that had become her constant companion, loaded with hours of Ozzy's music. I was actually in a pretty good mood that day, Ashley would later remember. I'd been feeling stronger, and my blood work had been looking better. I was starting to allow myself to hope that maybe I was turning a corner with this disease. Dr. Chen appeared in Ashley's room around noon, wearing an unusually bright smile that Ashley's sharp instincts immediately picked up on. "Ashley," Dr. Chen said, "before we start your treatment today, there's someone who wants to meet you. Someone who heard about your story and wanted to come say hello." Ashley looked puzzled. "What do you mean? Who would want to meet me? Why don't you close your eyes for a minute?" Dr. Chen suggested, with a mysterious smile. "I think you're going to be very surprised." Ashley complied, closing her eyes and waiting with the mixture of curiosity and apprehension that had become second nature during her long medical journey. She heard footsteps entering the room, heard whispered conversations, and sensed that something significant was about to happen. "Okay, Ashley," Dr. Chen said gently. "You can open your eyes now." When Ashley opened her eyes, she found herself looking directly at Ozzy Osbourne, who was standing at the foot of her hospital bed, wearing a gentle smile and carrying an acoustic guitar. For several seconds, Ashley was convinced she was hallucinating, a side effect she had experienced occasionally from some of her medications. "Hello, Ashley," Ozzy said in his distinctive Birmingham accent. "I heard you've been listening to my music. I thought maybe I could return the favor and listen to you for a while." The silence that followed was profound. Ashley stared at Ozzy with an expression of complete disbelief, her eyes filling with tears as the reality of the situation slowly sank in. Her parents, who had been brought into the room without her knowledge, watched from the corner with their own tears beginning to flow. You're really here," Ashley whispered, her voice barely audible. "I'm really here," Ozzy confirmed, moving closer to her bedside. "Your mum wrote me a letter about your fight, about how music has been helping you get through this battle. I had to come meet the brave young lady who finds strength in rock and roll." Ashley's reaction was everything her family and the hospital staff had hoped for and more. The tears came freely now, but they were tears of joy, amazement, and overwhelming gratitude. She tried to speak several times, but found herself speechless, overcome by the surreal nature of meeting someone whose music had become so central to her survival. "I can't believe this is real," she finally managed to say. "Your music, it's gotten me through everything. Every treatment, every scary moment, every time I wanted to give up, your songs were there." Ozzy pulled up a chair next to her bed and sat down, bringing himself to her eye level. "Tell me about that," he said gently. "Tell me how music has helped you." What followed was one of the most meaningful conversations of Ozzy's life. Ashley, once she recovered from her initial shock, opened up about her journey with cancer, about the role music played in her treatment, and about how specific songs had helped her through specific challenges. "When I first got diagnosed," she explained, "I was so scared I couldn't even think straight. But then I heard Shot in the Dark, and something about that song made me realize that being scared was okay, but giving up wasn't an option." Ozzy listened intently as Ashley described how different songs had helped her through different phases of her treatment. She talked about how Crazy Train gave her energy during chemotherapy, how Mama, I'm Coming Home reminded her that her ordeal was temporary, and how Diary of a Madman helped her process the mental and emotional challenges of serious illness. "You know what amazes me about you, Ashley?" Ozzy said after she had finished sharing her story. "You took songs that were written during some of my darkest moments and found light in them. You found hope and strength in music that came from pain and struggle. That's the most beautiful thing any artist can hear about their work. Can I ask you something?" Ashley said, her confidence growing as the conversation continued. Anything you want. Did you know when you were writing those songs that they would help people like me? Did you know that someone like me would be listening to them in a hospital, trying to find the strength to keep fighting? Ozzy was quiet for a moment, considering the profound nature of her question. No, he said honestly. When I wrote those songs, I was usually just trying to make sense of my own pain and confusion. I was dealing with addiction, with depression, with feeling lost and scared. I never imagined that those songs would help someone else fight a battle like yours. He paused, his voice becoming more emotional. But that's the most incredible thing about music, Ashley. When we're honest about our struggles, when we put our real experiences into songs, those songs can reach people in ways we never expected. Your strength, your courage, your refusal to give up. That's what makes the music meaningful. Ashley was crying again, but these were different tears. Tears of understanding, of connection, of feeling truly seen and heard by someone whose art had sustained her through the most difficult period of her life. Would you like to hear something? Ozzy asked, picking up the acoustic guitar he had brought with him. Ashley nodded enthusiastically, and Ozzy began to play a gentle acoustic version of "Mama, I'm Coming Home." But instead of his usual powerful rock delivery, he played it softly and intimately, turning the hospital room into a private concert venue for an audience of one. As he sang, Ashley closed her eyes and let the music wash over her. Here was her hero, her musical lifeline, performing just for her in the place where she had fought her greatest battles. The moment was so perfect, so unexpected, so filled with love and connection, that everyone in the room was moved to tears. When the song ended, Ashley opened her eyes and looked at Ozzy with an expression of pure gratitude. "Thank you," she said simply. "That was the most beautiful thing anyone has ever done for me." "Thank you," Ozzy replied. "Thank you for showing me what music can really do. Thank you for reminding me why I do this." But the visit wasn't over. Ozzy had brought several gifts for Ashley, including a signed guitar, concert posters, and a leather jacket similar to the ones he wore on stage. But the most meaningful gift was a handwritten letter he had composed specifically for her. "Ashley," the letter read, "your courage in the face of this battle has inspired me more than any concert audience ever has. Your strength gives my music meaning that I never knew it had. Keep fighting, keep believing, and know that you have an army of people cheering you on, including me. Rock and roll forever, Ozzy." Ashley read the letter through tears, then hugged it to her chest like a precious treasure. The visit lasted nearly 3 hours, during which Ozzy played several more songs, shared stories about his career and his own battles with health issues, and listened as Ashley talked about her dreams for the future. Dreams that included becoming a music therapist to help other sick children the way music had helped her. "I want to do for other kids what your music did for me," she told Ozzy. "I want to show them that music can be medicine, that it can give you strength when you don't think you have any left." Ozzy was deeply moved by her aspirations. "If anyone can do that, it's you," he told her. "You've already shown more wisdom about the healing power of music than most people learn in a lifetime." As the visit came to an end, Ashley made one final request. Could you sign my hospital bracelet?" she asked. "I know it's silly, but I want to remember this day forever." Ozzy carefully signed the plastic hospital bracelet that Ashley had worn throughout her treatment, transforming the symbol of her illness into a memento of hope and connection. "This isn't silly at all," he assured her. "This bracelet represents your courage, your fight, your refusal to give up. I'm honored to be part of that story." The impact of Ozzy's visit on Ashley was immediate and profound. Her medical team noticed an improvement in her spirits that translated into better treatment compliance and even seemed to enhance her physical response to therapy. Dr. Chen later described it as one of the most dramatic examples of the mind-body connection she had witnessed in her medical career. Ashley was already a fighter, Dr. Chen explained, but after Ozzy's visit, she had a new level of determination and hope that was truly remarkable to witness. Ashley's story, with her permission, was shared by the hospital and the Make-A-Wish Foundation as an example of the healing power of human connection and the importance of addressing patients' emotional and spiritual needs alongside their medical treatment. The visit also had a profound impact on Ozzy himself. He began making regular visits to children's hospitals, inspired by his encounter with Ashley and the realization that his music could serve as genuine medicine for people facing their darkest moments. Meeting Ashley changed my perspective on what I do, Ozzy would later reflect. I realized that music isn't just entertainment. It can be a lifeline, a source of strength, a form of healing. That's a responsibility I don't take lightly. Ashley's cancer went into remission 6 months after Ozzy's visit, and she began working toward her goal of becoming a music therapist. She maintained correspondence with Ozzy throughout her recovery and beyond, updating him on her progress and sharing how she was using her experience to help other young patients. True to her word, Ashley pursued a degree in music therapy and eventually established a program at the same hospital where she had been treated, using music to help pediatric cancer patients cope with their treatment and find strength for their battles. Years later, when Ashley graduated from college with her degree in music therapy, Ozzy was there in the audience, applauding as she walked across the stage to receive her diploma. In her graduation speech, she credited their meeting with showing her that survival was just the beginning, that the real victory came in using your experience to help others. Music saved my life, Ashley told the graduation audience. But more than that, it taught me that our struggles can become our strength, and our pain can become our purpose. That's a lesson I'll carry with me in every life I hope to touch through music therapy. The story of Ashley and Ozzy became a testament to the healing power of music, the importance of human connection, and the truth that sometimes the most meaningful encounters come from the most unexpected places. It showed that music could indeed be medicine, that celebrities could use their platforms for profound good, and that even in the darkest moments, hope and healing were possible. The impact of their meeting extended far beyond just the two of them. Dr. Chen began incorporating music therapy more formally into the hospital's treatment protocols. Inspired by what she had witnessed with Ashley's response to Ozzy's visit, the hospital administration, initially skeptical about celebrity visits, became advocates for similar programs after seeing the measurable improvements in patient morale and treatment compliance. Ashley's case became a model for how we approach the emotional and psychological aspects of pediatric cancer treatment, Dr. Chen explained during a medical conference presentation about integrative care approaches. Her response to music, and particularly to her interaction with Mr. Osbourne, demonstrated that healing involves much more than just medical intervention. The Haichu story also resonated within the music industry itself. Several other prominent musicians began following Ozzy's example, making their own hospital visits and working with organizations like Make-A-Wish to connect with young fans facing serious illnesses. The trend became known informally as the Ashley effect, recognizing how one teenager's story had inspired a broader movement of musical healing and celebrity activism. Rob Halford from Judas Priest, James Hetfield from Metallica, and even artists from different genres began participating in similar programs. What Ozzy showed us, Halford said in a later interview, is that our music can be genuinely therapeutic, not just entertaining. That comes with a responsibility to use our platforms wisely. 5 years after their initial meeting, Ashley was invited to speak at a major music therapy conference, where she shared the stage with Ozzy to discuss their unique relationship and its impact on both their lives. The presentation, titled From Patient to Practitioner: How Music Transcends Healing, drew attendees from around the world and became one of the most viewed presentations in the conference's history. When I was 16 and fighting for my life, I never imagined I'd be standing on a stage with my hero, talking about how music saved my life, Ashley told the audience. But that's the power of music. It doesn't just heal us, it transforms us into healers ourselves. During that same conference, Ozzy announced the establishment of the Ashley Rodriguez Music Therapy Scholarship, a program that would provide funding for students pursuing degrees in music therapy with a focus on pediatric care. Ashley showed me that the most important thing we can do is pass on what we've learned, he explained. This scholarship will help other young people follow in her footsteps. The scholarship program grew over the years, supporting dozens of students who went on to work in hospitals, hospices, and treatment centers around the world. Recipients were required to spend time working specifically with young patients, ensuring that Ashley's approach to healing through music would continue to spread. 10 years after their first meeting, Ashley had become one of the leading advocates for music therapy in pediatric oncology. her research on the neurological impacts of music during cancer treatment was published in several major medical journals, and her methods were being implemented in children's hospitals across 3 continents. When Ashley married her college sweetheart in 2018, Ozzy walked her down the aisle, a role he had accepted when Ashley's father Carlos had passed away from a heart attack 2 years earlier. "You're not just my musical hero," Ashley had told Ozzy when she asked him to take on this honor. "You're family. You saved my life, and now you're part of it forever." At the wedding reception, Ozzy performed an acoustic version of "Mama, I'm Coming Home," the same song he had sung to Ashley in her hospital room 11 years earlier. But this time, it wasn't about a patient finding strength to survive. It was about a healer celebrating life, love, and the power of human connection to transform pain into purpose. Thank you for reading this incredibly moving story about the healing power of music and human connection. If it touched your heart, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. It helps us continue sharing stories that remind us of the extraordinary strength of the human spirit and the magic that happens when people reach out to help one another.